share, comment, and
subscribe.
Hi guys, today we have in our studio man, the myth, legend, Leyeconnect.
That's such a grand intro. The man, the myth, the Leye. Oh, that's a lot anyway, but yeah. Thank you for having me.
Our absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
So how you doing today?
I'm very well. Other than the hangover from a blast in Ibadan, I think.
Yeah.
We are all collectively doing very well. So yes, I'm doing very well.
That was crazy actually, for people who knew about that.
Yes, it was.
So that happened. Also, today we're going to be talking with Leye and just get to know him, a little insights on where his head is at, what he's thinking about the Nigerian creative space. And of course, we're going to look at some designs and review them. So, yeah, the first thing I'll be asking is, we talk about how active you are on Twitter. And
my sins caught up with me.
and first I'm going to ask is, first of all, how do you get a lot of work done? And very quickly, I might add, with your presence on social media and how quickly you churn out stuff. Because I think there's a time someone released something, and then I think the news about fuel price, and then in like 30 minutes, I churned out a couple design samples. So how do you juggle that?
Okay, so I think someone had asked me this question before. My answer was very incoherent. So that answer then is going to allow me to answer better now. For the most part, I'm always in front of my laptop. Always. If you, any day, anytime, if you come into my apartment, you probably will find me in my workspace much more than you ever find me in the living room. So and most times when I tweet, I'm having my external screen beside me while my laptop is in my front, for the most part. So that explains why it's easy for me to go into my design software and churn out things. Again, as pertaining to the speed, I think having done a lot of side projects and a lot of work, held down by Eddie, has made me realize that everything to a large extent is just dealing with patterns. Design, there's a lot of design information you absorb to a certain point. I'm saying this at the risk of sounding cocky. You absorb a lot of design to a certain point, you start seeing things in pattern, more or less like apophenia. You start seeing patterns to things. So if they say, oh, design something like this, it's like there's a mental database of existing design you can just spin things from without necessarily going to Pinterest. And that's been like my joker card. I have a lot of design living rent-free in my head that I can just replicate whenever I have the time.
Interesting. But other than that, do you have systems in place that sort of help make the workflow? For example, you're probably doing something at work, and you have to sort of switch gears to something that piques your interest.
My work most time is task-based. Task-based means that I'm meant to deliver certain designs for the team. So as much as I do 9 to 5, that is the bane of remote workers. I actually work around the clock. So that means that even if I don't submit it before EOD or COB, I can still submit it within the time frame it is needed. And most times I try submitting it earlier than the time frame given. And again, working with Rise, for example, in Nigeria, has given me the opportunity to research first before I even design. So most part when you are researching, you can just jump on something else, other designs, and just churn it out while you go back to your research before you ship it out. So because of the extraordinary load of work we're doing at Rise, you can't just ship out designs like that. You have to take your time and understand what it is trying to do before you do it. So for the simpler response to that is that it's quite easy. I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, it's quite easy. I know I'm sounding incorrect now. It's quite easy for me. Design is not hard. I've seen a lot of designs, again, recurring to my earlier point. So if you ask me to design something, I have sort of like templates I can just spin up based on things I've seen. A lot.
How many years has it been since you started?
I started design professionally 2018.
2018?
Yes, I'm quite young. Unprofessionally, I've been in design in and out since 2015. 2015, what I started doing then was just posters. I remember then when I was in Illinois. There's something called walkway in Illinois. Anything poster on the walkway, I will always take a copy. Literally, I would unpin one and take it to the other side. I'll just observe
and break it down.
For me, it was just men people are thinking. I did not know I would end up in design.
Oh, okay.
For me, it just tickled my fancy, and then from there, Kale, who was the designer, I was then secretary of the Christian Union then. So Kale was the designer for the union. Started noticing I like design. And he noticed I had good eye for design. It was maybe probably the first person who noticed I had good eye for design. I didn't even notice. It was like, start critiquing my work. So I actually started my design career from critiquing people's design before starting design.
Interesting. Sounds like a friend of mine. But that's wild for me though, because I started designing 2016, and then and then I started Orient Crafts, then Imperial Graphics 2017 February.
Wow.
So I'm like, what's going on? Well, I mean that's cool. So picking back to Twitter, being very outspoken, both recent
I hope
times.
I've not been saying nonsense because I'm afraid of going back to my tweets by the way. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, you've been very outspoken, and our question to you is how do you handle the banter, both the good and the bad,
And the ugly.
and the ugly. How do you basically handle all of that? Dealing with, because I mean Twitter is open. Anybody can talk to anybody, and quite frankly, lots of people just speak anyhow, to people. So, being where you are at in your career, still being open to everybody. How do you handle the relations?
I think first, if you try to be a good person, it makes every other thing easy. If you try to be a honest person, I mean, trying to be a good person will let you know how hard it is to be forthright with people. So, but trying to be honest, at least with yourself first, and that's my own first point of call. So it becomes incredibly easy for you to be honest and open with people. If I tweeted something a while ago that we're having politics without principle in Nigeria, a lot of people are inconsistent. On January 1st, or when the government of the day is in power, you fight against them, and then on the basis of 2-3 points. And then when another government comes that absorbs you into power, that 2-3 points now sort of don't matter again. Yeah. So you are practicing politics without principle. So what I try to do as much as possible on my Twitter and as a person is I try to be consistent with my stance. If I say A doesn't make sense, 2 years from now, I'm probably still going to say it doesn't make sense. If I come back and realize that A is now starting to make sense, I probably also will tweet it, given the fact that I had mentioned before that A doesn't make sense. So that for me is revelatory, and I'll try to explain to people that, my stand is starting to shift. So you can always draw a straight line between where it was before, where he is now, and where it probably wants to be. So that's how I manage being able to speak in such a open market. Nonetheless, I assume I'm the only one in my space. That's so it makes it easy for me to say without minding who sees it. I just assume I'm talking to the mirror for most parts. And yes, there was a time I tweeted recently that we are not suffering from imposter syndrome. I said that
tweet. You're just a fraud.
You are just a fraud. Simple. Plot twist. I was talking to myself. What I did not do was say letter to self hashtag. I just felt like I owe nobody an explanation, please. You saw the tweet, I did not tag you, I did not mention it. If you feel triggered and say I have a responsibility because people I am responsible for my words. You are responsible for your understanding. Or like our president would do.
That's the tricky thing. When you have a following, you now have to sort of factor in that a number of people looking at you. But at the same time, Twitter is also for yourself, because I mean the platform is
like an open diary, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
To be honest, I factor in people, yes, and that's why I try to make sense of having such a large following. I didn't ask for it, and I keep reminding folks who tell me when they come into Twitter first, I say you're using the wrong tag for the wrong person. I am not. I will say something that probably will offend all the 44,000 people you are looking at, and they probably will leave me, and I probably will not mind. I try not to pander to the crowd. I try not to. I try not to be hypocritical, just saying things people want to hear. Yeah. But at the same time, I try to be beneficial. That I can't have such a number of following and not the thing I will tweet is bad. And I should be useful. So from time to time, I tweet meaningful things, resourceful things outside, and I know people find useful. But there are other times I want to tweet something that is not resourceful or useful to anybody. And I really just have to shut my eyes and do what I want to do. So it's a very delicate balance I try to maintain of being someone who is perceived to be someone. Community leader sounds like an exaggerated tag. Who is a designer people regard? Thought leader self is stratospherically above me. So being someone who people just fancy and then trying to create value for such large following. At the same time, being someone who wants to be, you should also know that I like doing other things other than design. Yeah. I have an idea other than design. I also like technology. I like gadgets a lot. It's probably one of my only vice, gadget freak. I can exhaust my salary just buying something I probably would just use twice, but let me just be looking at it. So yeah, I try to talk about other things that catches my fancy, and when I see topic that stimulates me, I try to chime in my own thoughts on it, regardless of what anybody thinks. That's why there's an instance where there was this gender war sometimes I avoid it like a pig. But there are other instances where I feel like, I don't know, what this person is saying is interesting, good or bad.
Yeah.
I want to give my opinion on it. And then someone read out in my DM the other time. I said, I don't think you should be doing this. Someone actually did. And first thing I understood is that person did it because they care.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody will go that extra mile if they don't care. So that allowed me to answer genuinely that I really appreciate this. However, I don't want to be lost in this crowd of you only do what we think you should do. And anything other than that, we'll flag it.
Yeah.
People should unfollow. I don't celebrate follow accounts. People should unfollow me if you feel like, for me, this is my space.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I try to ensure that people who are not designers can derive value from the followership. But that's like my TED talk about why my Twitter is like that. But and then a lot of people think I'm quite chaotic in person. I'm not. And I saw one of my co-designers and I was like chaotic person. Like I said, how did I come to have that tag? I am not chaotic.
Speaking of Twitter and giving resources and all, I think you're probably one of the most, like, one of the people that like really want to teach people and impact people. Because I mean, we have a vision here at Owen Crafts, but it can be hard, because
it is hard.
It is hard. You're trying to make impact, because I mean, so far on School of Creatives, we've spent a lot of money and really not even, definitely not broken even, in any way.
Okay.
And so, but we know what we're trying to achieve and stuff. So I know you've put out some materials I thought were really helpful. I'm like, hold up, Leye is not billing anybody for this, how and why. The other time we were talking on our IG live, and if we hadn't turned off the IG live, we'll have probably spoken for like 3 more hours.
Sure.
So I'm curious as to how that works for you, what you're looking to achieve, and how you make time also for these resources.
I have a grand vision, and I've always had it since service here. I read economics, by way of introduction, and reading economics, according to my father, I'd wear suit, tie, wear my Italian shoes, go to CBN in the morning, come back in the evening. That was his idea and his idealistic version of what he wants me to be. And I mean, I shared in that idea and I loved economics. But when my hand started touching money in design, I just said, this economics can wait. It actually can wait. And of course, design gave me so much opportunity to do other things. That's why I furthered. I went to postgraduate level with my economics. But I started realizing something. I'm coming to your question, but I want to explain your question, that if I actually went by way of office work, the kind of money I'm making now, I probably will only be making it when I'm like 45, 50. If I go through the rank of civil servants, you can't just make that kind of money now. Tech became a leveler through design. It became a leveler so that I could touch on certain kind of money I don't want to mention. I avoid being like a pig. And people don't ask me how old am I. People don't ask me what is my qualification. Just give us work.
Yeah.
So you would go how far you go is not determined primarily by how much grit you are willing to apply. You can't go farther than you are if you are in a civil servant work. Like if you apply grit more than where you are currently. If you don't do your exam, get promoted from level 12 to 13 to 14 at certain age, at certain instances, you're not going anywhere. So that idea sort of became something that I took seriously. That if you apply this on a large scale, that's where the idea started from. On a large scale, if people are empowered to be able to do what they want to do and still get paid for it. So it's not doing designs, but to a market that is willing to pay you and values what you're doing. Not necessarily the Nigerian market. I mean, the Nigerian market now is warming up to pay you well.
Shots fired.
No, it's bazooka. It's bazooka I want to fire. I'll come back to that. So it's like now giving your service to people is like price discrimination. It's the same service you are charging 20,000 to a business in Nigeria, but you're charging 200,000 to someone who just wants a quick fix for it outside the country. So I started realizing that a lot of money can be made in design. I mean, if my friends can make this kind of money too with me, it's made perfect sense. So a community mindset has been my go-to from the initial stage. It has been something I recourse to easily. So it just translates to what people notice online. I get people say they get paid to get those kind of resources and all. And again, I'm a netizen to the core. I comb the internet a lot. So I discover things that I feel like useful to people. But one thing I do most times is I ensure I consume it first.
Yeah.
And then I try to weigh, is this going to be, I'm sure people have seen this already. And at the instance, I'm like, no, I'm sure people have not seen this. And then I post it. So I sort of filter what I post too. So it's not just garbage in, garbage out. So that's the primer on how I see things. If you withhold the information, I don't know, Sha, but I feel like it's not, we are not playing a zero-sum game. I don't have to win and then you lose.
Yeah.
We can both win. And that's how I see it. There's enough money to go around. So if anything I say that can make me 1% better, I believe it can equally make you 1% better.
Yeah.
Collectively, we are both better off than where we were earlier. So it's like game theory, action to take for both parties. The most optimized action to take for both parties is when we all collectively grow.
Yeah.
So that's like it's called Nash equilibrium. I'm sorry, don't worry, just ignore what I'm saying. But Nash equilibrium is optimized. We both take an action that optimizes both of us makes us better off. There's a payoff. We are better off than where we were before. Because this is how I see it. If we are 4 in a room and one person keeps getting 1% better, and making your colleague 1% better does not take that 1% away from you. You are both collectively made better. 2 things happen. Your competition, the threshold of your competition also increases.
Yeah.
1. Number 2, quality alternative.
Yeah.
If you are not available, someone else is available who also can give her the same quality of work by the reason of information is consuming that you are giving her. So your competition is no longer far beneath you. Your competition is primarily your equal, so you have to double your work.
Exactly.
So collectively, it's like a concentric circle upward. You are both trying to outdo one another, not necessarily in an unhealthy competitive form, but in a fairly competitive form, and it's spiraling upward. It's like it spirals upward, and it's a win-win for you personally. It's a win-win for the community.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Well, I've always told people that because people ask me where we started Skull Kids that you're not afraid of competition. As I say, people with passion and people who really want to get better will get better with or without your help.
True.
So why not just be a part of their story as opposed to withholding? You know, and I think that's something that I've sort of carried with me since we started. So
that's
totally
very
resonate
valid,
with that.
actually. I like that line. People will become better with or without you.
Yeah.
It's just common sense to be a part of their story. It reminds me of when I was helping people with their project work. My name entered a lot of acknowledgement pages. I still like that anyway, but yeah.
So a quick icebreaker. iPhone or Android?
Android.
Android, why?
Open source. I'm a big fan of open source. I believe that open source, iPhone had a head start that sort of put them at the edge. I mean, the founder direction, the whole idea, the whole Steve Jobs effect, but cumulatively and more importantly, Android in every sense and in every form has been able to match everything iPhone is doing. Why? Because, I mean, knowledge compounds. Being able to open it up to allow people with great ideas contribute and do their part makes perfect sense. And I believe that with time, the iPhone supremacy is going to die a natural death.
But then use Mac, because I've seen your stories. Use Mac, use iPhone, use what's the
yes, I'm a high boy to the core. Yeah, so the thing is, I like the ecosystem, and that's the edge iOS devices have over Android. There's a defined ecosystem where they all communicate with themselves. If you buy an Android phone, it's very likely the next thing you are buying might not be even compatible with what you're using. But when you get iOS and then longevity, when you get iOS devices, you know you can use it for long, and their resale value is quite high. You can trade them for something else. Those are like the qualities I look at based on the economic situation of my country to make me realize I'm better off with the iOS device. Plus the ecosystem makes it very sticky. It makes it a very sticky product from the ecosystem. They all communicate with themselves.
So basically, Apple at hand, Android at heart.
Yes, actually, to let you know how much of an Android fanboy I am, and still am. I've always been an Android fanboy before I transitioned into iPhone, but it has not left me. Same with Windows. I had a Google Pixel 6a.
Oh, that's recent.
And I love the pictures. I'm about to get Google Pixel 7. I should be getting it tomorrow. 7. That's why I put my own answer.
Oh, okay.
This is
Nigerian.
This does not allow for physical SIM. Yeah, so I use eSIMs on this one. So, but physical SIM has to be in it. So I use that excuse
to get the Pixel.
To get the pixels.
Interesting. So, what do you think about the Nigerian creative community having a unified front? And how practicable do you think it is? And then what do you think it could possibly look like, for us?
I think I treated it that I have a theory That's why I mentioned it's a theory, because I mean talk is cheap.
Yeah.
That if we all share information and it does not seem like if we don't make it seem like a competition among ourselves, we'll be collectively better. Okay, in a nutshell, I think if we treat information like a public good,
Yeah.
we all collectively improve. Like I said earlier, we are not in a zero-sum game. It's not, well, in a sense, when I say public goods, this is what I mean. Like I explained earlier, something that you use, and because you use it does not mean someone else can use it. If we treat information like that, we realize that because I became 1% better by reason of knowing something, sharing with someone does not take away from me. It is not a zero-sum game. Like it is not. We are not dealing with fixed resources, so that if you take away from it, it automatically reduces, or it automatically takes away from someone. That mentality of community-driven approach first is what has to be entrenched in us, so that collectively we can be individually better than how we were. Now, when I say unity, rather not uniformity, united in the sense that we are all trying to be better than we are.
Yeah.
1% better every day, 1% better every day. So, not uniformity in the sense that we are all being identified under a banner. That's communities, micro,
Labor Congress.
labor, and also, oh, we are all for this community, we are all for that community. I mean, that's your business. That's your own responsibility and all. But so I'm thinking, if we all have the same outlook, so I'm trying to look at it from a higher scale. If we all have the same outlook on how we can make ourselves better, whether I'm part of a community or not, whether I'm part of your tribe or not, as long as I identify with it as a designer, you are trying to say how I get better, I'm trying to say how you get better. We're all looking out for each other. I mean, it's an idealistic welfare kind of outlook, but I see that's the only way out of it. Because if we keep sharing updates when do, we'll all be collectively better.
Yeah.
We would all converge at some point, which is a good thing. We'll spiral, like I said earlier, it's a concentric circle spiraling upward. We're all becoming better. So another side to it is that there's a quality alternative to you.
Yeah.
You are soaked with work, someone reaches out to you and say, oh, is there anybody that can do it at the way you would do it? You have other people to point to. But if you are the only one consuming information and you are the only one who is getting 1% better every day, and your colleagues, your friends, your teammates are not moving at your pace, when they ask you that, oh, is there another person who can do it like you can do it, even after you have swam the work, there will be nobody to recommend. So let's not make it, let's democratize the knowledge and growth, and let's make the whole self-improvement communal.
Speaking of knowledge and growth, I saw something on your Twitter again.
Okay. I feel naked for why?
So he said this year was for I think 3D and motion.
Yes.
And for me, at first when I said, I'm like, Jesus Christ is Lord. this guy is coming for our business, because I mean, I've told my guys that once you're a stellar person, anything you decide to pick up, your learning curve would be much
flatter. It won't be as steep.
Exactly.
As it would be
than
for a
the
normal
regular
person.
folk. So I said, I'm like, wow, okay. So it looks like I'll be learning from there soon. But then what does that look like for you? And how are you looking to sort of integrate with what you're doing? Because I mean, 3D and motion is very, very broad. It's a very, very broad landscape. So like, what's your navigation currently like?
I've suffered from one syndrome. It's called the aim syndrome. You aim, but you don't fire. I just keep aiming, but you're not firing. So it's the same way you say I want to do something and then you just don't get on. So for the longest period I've been a fan of animation. The fact that you bring life into still objects.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you need to tell richer stories with more context. So I told myself this year really shouldn't go by without me learning. I want to add it to my toolbox. So I've started, downloaded videos I'm already working with. I have people around me who are into motion. So I'm already getting resources from them too. One video a day. So no matter how strong I will work, I try to pace it so I don't feel like I'm stressed and I just have to do something. One video a day, even if I just have to watch it, tomorrow I can practice. Like that, I just ensure that there's no day that goes by without seeing one. Same thing for 3D. But for the 3D, I'm starting with something easy, spline. I know how to use spline, but I'm going now advanced with spline. But I'm not confident enough to share what I'm doing. Let me not go and call my brand awareness.
As in Blender?
Yeah, I already started. I know how to use Blender. I know how to convert SVG to 3D in Blender.
Okay.
So that's like baby steps I'm taking.
And it's very applicable for you because of product design.
Because of product design. So I take some of the SVG I've done, bring it into Blender, and then convert it to 3D.
Yeah.
And then I'm also understanding the lighting process in Blender. Blender is wide. But I've told myself one step
Yeah, at a time.
at a time. So that's what's making my work easier now. And also Adobe Illustrator, I say Adobe After Effects, you look at it and you just wonder, did these people design this platform so we'll learn how to use it? Or they design it to know people who are serious with their life? Like, it will just scare you off at first, and then over time you warm up to it. So yes, I actually did mean it, and from time to time you see me push out some of the things I'm doing.
That's very good to hear. I look forward to seeing what you do.
You definitely be on the lookout. Turn on post notification.
I'll put possible collaborations because I myself, I'm taking, so I've had this sort of on and off relationship with 3D.
Okay.
Because I mean, I do motion, full time and all, but 3D is like on and off. A project comes, okay, it gets stuff done. But I've always really wanted to do more, so I spent like the last maybe 12 days, really digging deep into research. And I think I put out something on my IG and Twitter that I was really proud of. But work has taken me again. But I'm hoping that once I settle one for the next 2 weeks,
Okay.
Go again, deep into research and really get going.
I'm rooting for you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of the Honda rebrand?
Okay. So I had thoughts forming in my head because when I saw the Honda rebrand, I just thought that there's this AI electric car wave that is actually going on. It's gathering a lot of attention, and strength, and it's like the new frontier: electric future, artificial intelligence future, autonomous future. So it seems that I had the idea forming in my mind. I see a lot of brands are reinventing themselves to morph into the idea, because yes, let's face it, a lot of these brands are coming from gasoline cars, and they want to morph into, how do I put it, like a brand trying to be Gen Z. That in a sense, that's how it seems to me. They want to morph into this. They want to rebrand so they have a clearer perspective that is communicated to their audience. And now we are going into an electric future and want you to ride along. And we are reinventing ourselves so you witness this real time. More or less like trying to be a Tesla-ic representation.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. But I think Tipsy was correcting me that they're actually having a new branch that is purely electric. So they designed their logo for it.
I didn't even read that far into it.
Yeah. Funny things I've not researched, but the thought was just forming in mind. I've been seeing this pattern of car brands doing a soft relaunch and rebrand, of morphing not too far away from what we know them from, except like Kia, and then giving us this electric futuristic look, which sort of embodies their new direction as a manufacturing company.
I think that's really what it is, like just moving into that space and preparing themselves visually.
They are trying to identify with what is obtainable in that space. They don't want how to the old in with the new kind of design. But that's my take. It's very personalized, individualistic take.
I have a more specific question.
Okay.
So, good logo design or bad logo design?
My answer is going to be very political, very diplomatic, if you ask me. When Total did their logo rebrand, everybody said they don't like it.
Yeah.
It's grown everybody. Now they like it. And now I like it more than the previous design. So sometimes it's not necessarily a bad design. Sometimes just give the logo design time. Time sometimes does not, if you do rubbish, time is still going to let us know you did rubbish.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just the shock of change that allows us to react negatively. We are very disinclined to change.
Yeah.
So it's just that shock of why did you change it? So sometimes it's not a matter of good logo, bad logo design. It's a matter of give it time. We'll come back and we'll evaluate it that no, we have struggled to adapt and sink into this your new identity. It's just not working.
Yeah.
And then again, if something is not broken, don't fix it.
Now that was a very political answer indeed. All right, so up next is good design, bad design. Let's get into it. All right, so here we are, and we are going to be looking at a couple designs, and I'm going to hear what Leye thinks about them. So, the very first one is our own design, Creatives Connect 2023 Ibadan. So, what do you think?
I feel boxed. This is nice. I like the creative expression that comes with it. I like the playfulness that is also attributed with it, and I like the image treatment.
Okay.
I'm a minimalist at art, but even at that, I appreciate this. I like the playful chaos too. I'm a fan.
I'm waiting for the bot.
No, there's no but. I'm a fan. This is clear. You can. For me, what matters most is creativity should never swallow up communication. All of this brand is meant to also communicate. If it's not communicating, then it's hard.
Yeah.
It's designed because you are communicating through this medium. So I can clearly see on my left hand everything I need to see. Literally everything. It's not lost in the whole design. So it still does what it's meant to do, which is primarily communicate.
As +1 for the Raincraft team. Next design. So I think it's supposed to be for a chart.
Okay, I like the fact that she did both the light mode and the dark mode.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of effort to do that these days, one. And then number two, I like how it's very clean. It's a clean interface, even while showing that the interface is having a background image.
Yeah.
The chart interface has a background image. I also like how she uses outlined icons, not full. Yeah, so I like everything I'm looking at. I also appreciate the mock-up. Shows a great deal of effort. I like the typographic, the typography use, the use of typography.
Okay.
How you can see the time, the metadata, the time.
Yeah.
And then I like the use of cues too. When someone is currently typing, you can see it. And the chat section, you know that person is currently typing.
Yeah.
And the only thing I think should still be worked upon is the type. The size of the type should have been a bit smaller, or there should have been more space. Actually, a bit smaller, and then with a bit more breathing rooms around the padding, the text inside the box. Other than that, this is very good. I have no other complaints after that. This is very good. Just that the bubble carrying the text should have been having more padding.
I'm sure she'll be happy to hear that.
No, definitely. Big ups to her.
One for the doctors.
One for the doctors, please.
Alright, next design. Yeah, so I saw this off design Twitter.
This is nice.
I think this is a logo design. Let's check the other assets. The couple. Yeah. So this is I think the design or the logo in use. More like brand identity really.
This is very nice. Nah, this is nice. I like how they took something this simple and then they translated into a lot of other instances. This is very nice. Yup. A steady hand brought about all of these things.
Yeah. What do you say are the things, the specific things that people can learn from? Yeah.
The type, the color, and then the application of the assets. The type, the color, and the application of the assets is very nice. It's very, very clean. That's another way to describe it. Look at the logo. I mean, look at how clean the logo is. Look at the type. Look at the color. That neon green, and then the contrast. That contrast, and then it's not shouty. As much as there's contrast, it's not shouty. It's really nice.
Awesome. So I think there's no comments or feedback as well.
No, this is good. The thing that makes it stand out is the typography, the type, the color, and the image treatment. This is really nice.
Yeah. Awesome. So we're going to check out one of the guys in our community, his portfolio. That's spalms. So face value, what do you think of this logo?
This is nice. It's very nice. I can see, I think I can see the E if I'm not wrong, and C.
Yeah.
I can see the E and the C, only that the upper bow of the E is not connected. But yeah, I think I can still see how maybe you can easily call this an abstract logo, but you can see a C and E easily. So that sort of makes it stand out. This is nice. Is only that hospitality and entertainment, is that a version of the logo lockup, or that's how it's going to be? So let's see, go down.
Okay.
Let me see if there's a place where the person puts the logo explanation for.
Okay, so logo rationale.
But if there isn't such a thing, then the danger with that is that when it is scaled down, those texts will suffer.
Visible. Yeah.
But if it is something that is flexible or part of a logo lockup in various formats, then it can work.
Okay. Let's go down. Let's see what else we have there. It looks to me though, from all this, that it's actually part of the logo type.
The problem with this is, except if it is a logo that will be represented in very big size, for most part, yes, it works. If it is going to be represented in very small form factor, like printing those full content on the bio side, those content will be lost.
So I'm looking at the proportions on the logo. So if we could just pause here, so I feel like there is like this space here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just commenting because I
Yeah.
mean, I think you have way more on this in the logo design, but then like there's this space here, this space here, and then the width of this and this. So it just feels like there isn't much uniformity as we were in terms of proportions and all. But I get that the whole cutting thing was
He was trying to
idea.
infuse the cut
Yeah,
and the edge.
exactly.
Yes, I sort of agree with you too, but the reason why I'm not faulting such a thing is that for the most part, as long as there's an explanation as to why, how did you arrive at this point?
Yeah.
It's not, I'm not discountenancing that part, but it didn't catch my attention. But as me, the first thing that caught my attention, I probably would have spoken about it. I still think the logo is doing well, even if, like you said, the proportion can be worked upon.
Yeah.
I think it is doing well.
Interesting. So big ups to Spans. Let's take
Big
the
up to
next.
Spans. Big up to Spans.
Like, so okay, we have brand applications here.
I like what I'm
assets.
looking at. Only that I feel like that background is disturbing.
Yeah.
Like it's very
This one
activity
they
reading.
knows.
Yeah.
Probably reducing the opacity on the pattern.
And this pattern is making it look like an Ankara pattern here. Yeah, but they must definitely find their use case.
Yeah. So we have the smart cook here.
This is nice.
So it's more of I think it's more of a logo type.
This is
logo.
very nice. I like the simplicity of it. I do.
Let's check the brand applications.
I also like the color variants.
The red and
The green.
yeah, red, green. I think this is dark brown. I'm not sure this is full black.
I think it's safe to call it dark brown. Assuming it was tending towards red, I'll call it burgundy, but this is dark brown.
Interesting stuff. Then you can take the next one, then move to the next portfolio.
Yeah, I love this is nice.
Just the play with the
illustrations, this is nice. I like it when illustrations sort of reinforce an idea.
That's a very key word. Illustrations reinforcing
the idea they are trying to put across. Yes. This is nice. I like the makeup, so they're on point. Oh, I love the stickers. Oh, I love the posters too.
I think these are a sample posters. So I think the first one here, let's look at the first one and just move from there. So aim to get, I think these are assets for a brand.
Okay.
Aim to get, we have Ember Rave and we have Super November.
This is nice. The Super November seems very lost, like very scanty. Like, is it that they don't have a lot of information, or this scaling of the type of the fonts are too small? It feels like something is still missing on the screen. I like the Ember Rave. I like how the while effect is applied to the large text. Add the 29 to 29 December 2023. I felt that should have been bigger.
Okay.
I felt that should have been bigger. Connect Vibe It also can be bigger. Win amazing prizes when you.
Those are a little hard to see.
Yeah, they're a little hard. I can see it because I am moving towards the screen. Yes, for the most part, people don't need to change position before they'll be able to read what you are pushing out. It's the same thing for billboard design. You can't move towards your billboard. Wherever I am, I should be able to see clearly. So less information, bigger text.
Exactly. But what would you do differently with the Super November flyer?
The Super November, I probably will have increased the size of just the 30 days of mouth-watering deals and smooth transaction. Probably like scaled up the size of that type. Super November will have been bigger. Still. Probably sitting comfortably at the back of the lady's head. Bring the lady on top, put that behind. And I probably would not use a gradient. I probably just use one color on the Super November.
Text.
Yeah.
Interesting. So those are notes for you, Spans. The next person's portfolio is my friend here at the studio, Heritage Osofowora, and you mentioned you know him already.
He's equally my friend too. Since everybody is claiming to know him, I know him too.
Alright, so he's a brand designer. Interesting story. I remember back then in church, because I'd been designing, I'd been part of the media team for a while, and he's a leader, was a leader in our church. So he came and said, "Oh, I want to learn design." I'm like, okay, what's going on? But I mean, sure, why not? So he gave my directions and all that. And then fast forward a couple of years later, like he's leading a design team, and I'm like, bro,
that's good to know.
So it's amazing to see. So let's check out some of the stuff here. Let's take a look at the logos.
I wanted to ask you that. Let's go back to the logos. Yes. I like this mode law. Really nice. Though I've made some things thicker, but yes, this. I like the Credo Domini. I like the Ignite. I feel should have been made better. I like the
How so?
BMX. Yes,
Let's start picking them out one by one.
Okay.
So from mode law, how would you make things thicker?
I'm a sucker for black letter. Condensed black letter. Something condensed and expanded. Flat with big, thick, what's it called? Strokes.
Yeah.
Like the stroke is thick, and then I'm a fan of it. I like the this bar,
The pillars.
the pillars.
using this.
Yes, those pillars just represent law and justice. How we infuse it into the mood law. It's quite intelligent use. I like the Credo Domini or Domain. Oh, sorry, Domain. Credo Domain. I don't even know what it is, but it looks nice against that black background. Again, orange is a cheat color code. It just looks nice. I like the safe house.
Yeah, I think that looks very neat.
It looks neat, and I feel it can work on any color. And then you have liberty of switching the color of the cutout on the house to be anything without losing its identity. I like the slab too. I like how you're using tall fonts there. The slab restaurant. It looks this looks very classy.
Amazing.
Buy hall makes sense. I mean, it's literal.
Yeah.
With a lot of cat design out there, it's crazy you were able to come up with this. This looks very, very interesting. I like the BMX.
Yeah, BMX.
It's nice. I like it's quite unique. It's distinct in a sense. I like it. Inside Marketing Podcast, of course, you know it's a podcast.
Yeah,
It looks like a podcast.
I'll probably just use the dark purple for the podcast.
Yes. The only thing is that I was guessing that podcast background color is giving it very low contrast, especially with the text, with the color of the text for the type. But other than that, it looks looking good. That podcast background color should have been darker. The Ignite, as much as I like it, I feel like that star should sit well. I don't know if you're seeing it. It cuts into that the G, and then no, it's nice, but it should sit neatly.
Mm-hmm.
It's not looking like
fuses.
It's not looking neatly done. Possibly the person who gave him the work rushed him or didn't feel well. One of the two. It's not looking well. Don't looks nice. You know, you are taking thing that looks like chin and then it's synonymous with a bite. Well, I prefer that bite should have been inside the D or around it, and then that actual budu that he did should have been full orange, not
okay. So it's more like that's the food paste being eaten.
Yes.
But then that gets rid of the
that bite. That bite. No, not that. You can still show it, but that bite. Because if I take away that Dundun text and show you this alone, you won't make sense of what you're looking at.
Yeah. But I was thinking in terms of icon usage. I was thinking he would probably want to use those two things as an icon. But now that you said it, if he makes the D, the food paste itself, and then takes a bite from it, that could actually work.
It works better than, in my own estimation, than just the icons doing that. So this is all good. I mean, this is nice.
That's a very interesting.
This presentation body.
Yeah. So how brand identity here? Okay, basically the same thing.
Okay.
Is there any other thing here? Alright, so I think we have some posters.
I click on it. Let's see.
Right. Therapy. Let's do therapy first. Alright, I'll start with this one.
This is so nice. I like the effect on it.
The background, the
texture. That denim textured effect is so nice. I mean, it's very nice. Global transfers at your fingertip. I know this is nice. The only thing is, the image used looks more like travel and tour, and less like global transfer. But composition wise, these banks, I like the cross-border remittance and currency exchange in 150 countries for 50 local currencies. This is nice. I like how there's sufficient contrast, but the image seems to talk more about travel than transfers.
How would you represent? Because off the top of my head, I was thinking maybe, those paper planes. Maybe
paper plane, generic,
yes,
generic paper plane with currencies around it. So take your paper plane and then cut out currency images, merge it together, and then bring it here.
Okay. So you won't go for a total swap of the image.
Yes, I will actually go for a total swap of the image. I might
Okay.
just representing the globe, currency trailing behind paper plane around
Okay.
the globe.
Oh, interesting. So instead of dotted lines, probably
Yes.
use currency instead.
Yes, trailing it. So
Okay.
you can still use dotted line or wobbly lines to show speed, but nonetheless, that's what I would have done.
Interesting. Alright. So
Send
same
money
brand.
globally with just a click. Oh, this is nice. I think it's trying to show the places you travel to easily, or trying to represent the globe by showing their noteworthy memorabilia.
Yeah.
This is nice, and monuments. Cross-border remittance. Why did you not use white on this place?
The subtext.
In the subtext. Well, that's just my bias. That's not the deal breaker. That is just my bias. I like the integration of the clouds, especially close to the
Text.
header text.
Okay.
They send money globally with just a click. Really, Max. And I like the subtle details. The hot balloon, the airplane, and then the birds.
Alright, so I think we'll just look at one last design. Switch.
No, this is nice. Switch allows you to buy crypto anytime. I like the effect again placed on it, and I like how simple this is. You see the text, you see what it is talking about, you see your call to action.
Yeah. Alright guys, so we've come to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you got to this point, love you, appreciate you. And of course, thankful to our host, so our guest for today, Leyeconnect. I mean, it's been amazing. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. I look forward to doing more amazing stuff with you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And thank you for all around being an amazing person, an amazing professional.
I'll take that as a compliment I have not worked for. That compliment is beyond my qualification, so I won't fall for that trap. But thank you all the same.
Alright guys, so don't forget to like this video, don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to tweet about this video, tell all your friends about it, and see you in the next video.
See you in the next video.